Hello. Welcome back to the Trading Weekly. How are you doing, Kay?
I'm doing great. Happy Sunday to all the viewers and to you, Sean, as well. How was your little time off?
It was fantastic. Yeah, it was nice to have a week off. Obviously, went into Spain, had a wedding there, so it was very interesting, but very fun. Recommend a Spanish wedding to anyone watching. Yeah, no, it's been a good couple of weeks. Feels like it's been ages actually. Does it feel like it's been a while for you?
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it, it's been 2 weeks, right? We did it. Our last live was on the 14th, so it's about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it just feels a bit longer. Maybe a lot has happened in those couple of weeks. Um, so how's your trading been actually? I guess we'll start with that. How's your trading been the last couple of weeks?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been talking about that. Generally, the September month is not a great month. On the flip side, this has been my best trading month for the entire year.
Wow, see that's a testament to the kind of effort you put into each trade and all the kind of investing knowledge that you have. And yeah, so I think it's well rewarded, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of Tesla trades got, because of the entire consolidation and the breakout, and you were just on the right side of the trade this time around because
Yeah.
we failed Tesla trades multiple times on many occasions in the previous months, but this time it made up all the losses in this month.
No, awesome, fantastic. Let's jump into the slideshow here. Then we've got so this is obviously not financial advice. We're just a couple of guys that look at charts, and we love to do it. We do it week in, week out, at 1 p.m. Eastern time, on obviously YouTube and on X as well. And we are supported massively by Wolf Financial. And we do really appreciate the support. We've got the avatar in the top left hand corner there, so go and follow him if you're not already, which I'm sure you are, of course. Add your tickers in the comments. We've had a few in here already. We've got, what have we got here? We've got Kevin, GLD, fantastic. We'll have a look at that. We've got Google, Amazon. We'll do both of those. Don't worry, Justin. Thank you for coming back once again. Good to see you after a couple of week breaks. And what else did I miss? Oh yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So Trading Weekly. So obviously we've rebranded now to Trading Weekly, so that's good. Should we jump into the slideshow? Okay.
Yeah, and I think we also had one comment on X about Lucid, so I have added that as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having taken a look at Lucid. I will get rid of that annoying tick at the bottom there, but it's very useful. So that will be a new feature for us on our live stream. So if you do like it, then obviously send us a comment. Make sure it's a good feature to have. Right, moving on. Let's get into the week. Last week's performance. Obviously, we don't have the week before's performance, but last week's performance you can see on the screen here. I'd say largely red actually. It felt red. Just trading throughout the week. We've got a couple of green names, of course. We've got Apple up almost 6%. Tesla just over 4% there. And NVDA and Microsoft kind of playing around that kind of 0 to 1% mark, which is not too bad at all. And you've got other big names here. You've got Google, Meta, and Amazon all down in the dumps there. Not so much Google, but Meta and Amazon shared in 5% down, which is quite incredible. Is there anything else on this page that kind of jumps out to you?
No, not much. I think overall, if when you go to the fear and greed next slide, we are pretty much in the same place we were 2 weeks back.
Yeah, there you go. So it hasn't really moved, and we're not trading at all-time highs, but we're kind of near enough there, which we'll jump into in the charts in a minute. But yeah, it still feels like something big is going to happen, doesn't it? I'm not too sure if that's maybe me just being a bit dramatic, but
So what I have learned this over the last few years doing trading, like we always have this thought somewhere in the back of our head, something is going to happen, something's going to happen, and the problem is most of the times nothing happens, and then we just keep missing those trades. Like, oh, we're at the top, something's going to happen. Well, something will happen at some point in time. Let's worry about that when it happens.
yeah. So just trade the chart that you see in front of you. I think is
Exactly.
is is the best thing to do, and obviously have that psychology ready. Don't rush into anything. Don't get FOMO. Don't do anything stupid. Just follow your rules. Do your normal. And just trade the chart that's in front of you, whether it goes up or down. Doesn't matter. We're traders at the end of the day. We can trade both ways.
And the best thing is, if something bad were to happen, let's say you get a 10% or 20%, what do?
Mm,
You actually start focusing in your long-term portfolio to start adding those names that you wanted to add, which you cannot add at all-time highs.
exactly right. Now, I don't think it's. I think it's important to say don't be afraid to take profits as well. I'm sure lots of people are taking profits, which is why we're seeing a little bit of a dip in the markets, of course. So just don't be afraid to take a little bit off the table, even if it has come down maybe 5% from the all-time highs. Just take a longer term look in the last 6 months. and think, oh, actually, my stock is up 50 to 60%. I will just take a little bit off the top, and that's completely fine. I feel
And
like we probably should have made ourselves bigger with this chat, but we've
no,
kind of
and
stuck in the
Sean, I
corner.
think you just said something very important here, right? And this is what happens. So what ends up happening with these with retail folks is like they get on a trade which goes their way, right? So for example, you're up 100% on a call or 200% on a call, and then you start thinking you'll become a millionaire
Mm,
with that call. That's the problem. It's like take your profits, you will never go poor. And this was like 2 years back, or maybe two and a half, when Nate and we, all three of us used to do this live. And on
mm.
that live, remember when Nvidia did that run all the way from 200 to like 550, before this was before the stock split. So I did take profit. Now you could say hindsight 2020, oh, if I wouldn't have done that, I would have got additional. I sold like about 30 or 40 shares. So that would have been 400 shares almost after the stock split. So I could have run four more covered call contracts. Beside the point, I made money on that, and
Mm.
I use that for investing in other things. You will never be poor by taking profits. That's what I'll say.
But there is a lesson in there to say maybe leave some on the table, and that's where
Oh,
I've
it
gone wrong in
was,
the
yeah,
past
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
That
And
exactly.
we both said that at the beginning of the year, actually, when we went over what we thought went badly in 2024 and what went well in 2024. We kind of both touched on the fact that we could actually make the more out of our winners and letting them run a little bit more. And
Exactly.
that's kind of normal. Like you said, it's just normal human psychology. You did what you thought was right at the time. You took that profit. I did the same on Palantir. You did it on Nvidia. I'm sure lots of other people watching did it on many, many other stocks. So just be careful, well, not be careful, just be mindful of that's a normal thing to happen within the markets. Anyway, we kind of got sidetracked there. There's a nice little bit of psychology kind of coming in there. We'll come back to the slideshow here. Obviously, we do have a little bit of key events here. We've got jobs numbers on, I'm guessing that's, what's this? Is that Tuesday? That must be Tuesday, yeah.
No, it's all
Um,
basically the entire week. So you have Joel's job number on 9:30. You have the ADP employment number coming out on 10:1, because ADP is a very big payroll company. And then you have initial jobless claim. So basically, next entire week is all about job numbers.
yeah, hot topic at the moment. And you can see that Spine pretty much flat over the week, even though it did feel a little bit more negative. Right, we'll move on to the next slide then. We've got earnings, which is basically zero earnings. We've got Carnival. Is that Carnival Cruise Lines? Is that someone
Yeah,
else?
Carnival Cruise Lines. You have Jeffries if you're interested in its investment company, and then you have Nike. That's the
Nike.
only company that I'm more likely interested, just to know the narrative on what's going on, because they're still in the process of turning around the company. So we'll see how that plays out.
And that Nike typically signals the end of the earnings season as well. So before you know it, in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, we'll probably get the banks through again,
Yeah,
and
you're
then we'll
right.
start all over again, which is
Yeah.
always an exciting time for investors and traders actually. So we'll move on to the next one. We've got our first charts of the day, and that's SPY daily on the left, and we've got QQQ weekly on the right. I've pretty much just copy and pasted the last kind of 3 or 4 sessions really. I think it's nice to kind of have this kind of daily perspective on the left and a weekly perspective on the right. Very similar charts, obviously, in the way that they move, because they're both very similar. They're very tech run indexes, of course. So on the left, obviously we came back down on Thursday. Let's get my pointer out. Here we go. On Thursday, we came back down to touch the 20 moving average quite nicely. Almost a bit of a double bottom here as well, which is interesting. Didn't actually notice that until just now. And then Friday, a nice positive day, maybe just pushing out of the volume to maybe just continue. Oh, I lost my voice there. Continue moving upwards. Maybe we can make some more all-time highs in the month of October. It's definitely possible. Until this trend breaks, then you know the trend is your friend, as we like to say many times. I'll let you talk to the one on the right, okay, because I've spoken a little bit now.
Yeah,
What do
no,
you think?
absolutely. I think very similar. What we want to watch on both QQQ and SPY is the same concept, right? So on the weekly, that's the weekly chart, right? So
On the
on
right, yeah.
your 20 SMA, and I usually use EMA, so it's a little bit going to be different, slightly different, but on 555 is your 20-day SMA on the QQQ. Unless there is something, some major news that's black swan events happens, I don't see much changing in the next few weeks until we start hitting those earning season and when the tech starts earning. So we may see a pullback here and there, a couple percent point, for trading perspective, if that were to happen. But there is nothing pointing at this point in time that we are going to see a major pullback or something like that.
Q then minus 10% this week.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, typically within a year you get what 2 to 3 pullbacks, don't you? We haven't. I don't think. Well, we had one in April, of course. Is it April? It's kind of this one here,
But
but
if
that
you had
was
10%,
very
what
large.
are we talking about? It's 0.38%
No,
in
I'm
last.
talking about. That was more of a joke. Like the Q next week will be minus 10% after you said it
Oh,
was going to be 3 and a half.
wasn't that big, right?
Yeah,
10,
sorry. No, I was putting you load there.
think about this. If QQQ does a 10%, let's just say, how much do you think SPY will be? At least 5%, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the Qs would be obviously more dramatic. Obviously, it's mostly tech run.
So
But
what do you
if
think
if
could cause
Spy,
that? The jobs number probably could be one.
it could be, yeah, or just general. If the jobs number comes in lower and this trend line breaks, we come back down to maybe 650. We break this number, then all of a sudden we're on the way down to 50
Mm,
million average.
that's true.
And obviously that's where the volume is. And normally those volume gaps do kind of play out
Yeah,
fairly quickly.
yeah.
We held on to it in the last couple of weeks, and that's just due to the strength of the market. It's a bull market. We're kind of plowing upwards. It's
But
normal.
even
But
if you look at your previous months, like they have held this 20 EMA very well, right? If you look at
yeah,
all,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
barring that one candle that dipped below it, we just quickly recovered.
Yeah, and that's it's a dip buyer's market, and that's where we are for now, and that's what we've got to trade. Um, right, shall we move on to the next slide then?
Yes, sir.
And this is where to find us. I'll go first this week. You can find me on X. I post daily things around kind of psychology, kind of trade ideas. I post during the week on Monday to Friday. I post free charts every morning before the market opens. Just a few ideas, either for the day ahead or for the week ahead, of course. YouTube, I've got a video that came out today all about trend lines, kind of a 101, if you will. So that if you go ahead and check that out, if you kind of fancy a new strategy, or if you just want to watch me again for another 10 minutes or so. And that's it. That's all I've got at the moment. What have you got going on, Kay?
Well, similar as you, I am as well on X/Twitter. Pretty much, comment on a lot of stuff, whether it's new technology or trade ideas or investing ideas. You can follow me there. YouTube, I'm actually going to start picking back up in October, so we'll be doing a recap of 2025 picks that you can see on my channel or on X. It's a pinned tweet, and then Substack. I keep writing about those trades or investing ideas, so you can follow me there as well.
So on that video, Kay, with the kind of update on your 2025 picks, I think that's going to be a really good one because they're all, we spoke about that before the stream, just for the viewers to kind of have a little bit of a hint here, but they're all doing really, really well. So you should be following Kay on X and YouTube for 2026 picks because they're probably going to be, just the same, if not better. But yeah, you can see the handles on there at Shaun Trades underscore and at InvestK, pretty much on every platform you can find. Let's move on to the next one. And this is our past performance. So what we've done actually, as you can see here, all the little tickers that we've had per week. But because we took last week off, this is actually 2 weeks worth of data, shall we say. So unfortunately, I was down 4.4% for A&D in the last 2 weeks, and CoreWeave was up a massive 17%. So Kay takes the win for the last 2 weeks. Well done, Kay. That's one notch on the board. But yeah,
Question is,
how
can
you?
I reach double digit win this year? Can I get to 10?
Yeah, of course you can. There's plenty of weeks left. So we've got
Yeah,
what, 12, 13 weeks left, something like that in
yeah,
the year.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll get over 10 for sure. You may not beat me, but that's okay. We'll try again next year. Hey?
I think that's
No,
seriously next year, actually.
all a bit of light-hearted fun, of course. There's no maliciousness. It's just a little bit of fun that we like to track our stocks, and you can see what we've. Just for viewers as well, while you're here, you can see what we've been picking in basically the last 20 weeks or so, each side. Yes, of course, we're not really picking these for a week performance. We're picking these for kind of longer term, or maybe sometimes even shorter term. So it's not for the week. It's just a little bit of fun that we have alongside our picks. Yeah, and with that, we'll move on to my first pick, or only pick, should I say, of the week, and that's NVDA. It's a big name. It's one that moves the market pretty well. Um, and I just feel like there might be a bit of a breakout here. And it kind of tried it on Monday. That's
Mm.
Monday, yeah. Kind of tried it on Monday, but it kind of pulled back throughout the rest of the week. It dipped down below my normal entry point, which is basically this trend line here, but it's not a perfect trend line. So I've kind of come down to like an area, which is this volume profile on the right side here. So 176 to 178 is the area that I've drawn. I probably should have drawn a box on here, but oh well. So basically what I want to say is I like it here because of the price action we've seen in the last 2 days. It's been very positive off of this trend line, off of the 50 moving average. It's come back above the 20 moving average and the trend line. So I feel like if we don't get a green week this week, then obviously, well, I don't mean what to say. It's obviously the trade's not going to play out, but I would be expecting a green week this week. What are your thoughts on the video? I know you're a bit more of a you know logical side of the actual company, but for me, this is just the chart play.
No, I first of all I agree with you on this breakout because it has been consolidating in this range for a good more than a month now. We started this around
July, yeah.
724, so we are in this range bound for a long time. So it there's definitely some sort of a breakout or breakdown coming, right? There's definitely going to happen. The same coiling happened with Tesla. It just took longer to play. So I don't know if it will play this week or not. It could play, but you're getting to a point where it has coiled up so much that there is going to be a price action to the top or to the bottom. Now, for folks who are interested in Nvidia or who trade Nvidia, invest in Nvidia, what I highly recommend that go to YouTube and look it up. Latest interview by Jensen Huang, and I gave you the link as well. It's one of the podcasts he did recently. I think it's a 1 hour 44 minutes long, and Jensen talks about a lot of stuff with their partnership with OpenAI, their partnership with CoreWeave, and other stuff that is happening, and they touch upon a lot of topics and where we are getting wrong by just thinking Nvidia is a chip maker, where we start competing. Hey, Google is going to make TPUs and is going to take away business, or AMD is making chips. There's a lot to unpack on Nvidia as a company per se. So I definitely recommend watching that. And I'm totally on board with you on this because I actually hold common stocks and options as well, calls on this for long term. So I'm just sitting and waiting for that breakout or breakdown to happen.
Awesome. Yeah, I think and obviously the target I've got on the screen there is $200. While we're here, Kay, I know you just sent that link to me before the stream started. If you put it in the comments in the YouTube video, then people can
Yeah,
go ahead over to the YouTube channel.
yeah.
And this is a good time actually while you do that, just to kind of take a little bit of a tiny break, stick up the ticker again. Obviously, you can see various messages there down there. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube channel at Trading Weekly, and put your audience requests in the comments so we can get the ticker requests going. We've had quite a few already, but we do need a few more, I think, to fill up the stream. And we're always looking to get more ideas ready for our charts and ready to make some money, pretty much, which is what we're here for at the end of the day. So do go ahead and put your audience requests in if you are, of course, watching. We'll get rid of that now. I don't know where I've gone. There we go. Kay's probably posted that in the comments, which is good. And then we'll move on, I think, to the next chart, which is your pick of the day. Here we go. CoreWeave again, 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row,
Fantastic.
and it's pretty straightforward. There is not much going on here. The trade is simple. It has bounced off this 100 SMA for a while now. So as
Yeah.
long as we see the bounce and recovery, you could get all the way to the previous equal highs of that one around 150, and there is not much volume until you go to the 158 160 level, which is at the top. And then what we'll be basically targeting the 180 level, which will be the equal highs from, I would say, what June onward. So that's the three levels of upside. And if we see a breakdown, then we will see it coming back around the 180 to $100 range. That's where you accumulate the stocks. So you can play it either way. You can wait for the breakdown or a breakout to happen and then enter the trade, or you can enter at this, depending upon your position. So I am already in the trade. Um, I do have a long put as well on CoreView, so I profit if we see a breakdown. That's basically just an insurance hedge on my upside. But if we see a breakout here, we could go all the way back to the 150s for the equal highs. Straight trade.
Yeah, I like this, and I'm with you on the positive price action, but I've got a slightly different setup, as you could probably imagine. So I've drawn a line from this high up here, if you can see the cursor.
Hmm.
Imagine if you're drawing a line across the highs
Hmm.
down here.
Hmm.
We are a little bit above the line, but I think the line actually comes down to about 112, 113. I did have a look on Friday after the market closed. So if we do get a sharp push down to there, I do expect buyers to come back in and make that move that you mentioned back up to kind of 150, 160. I've currently got my first target price, I think about 148, top of my head. I should really write this down before I come on the stream. But yeah, the ultimate one, obviously, of course, is back to the highs of about 182, which is obviously all-time highs for the stock like this. But yeah, it's a very exciting company, you believe, right?
Yeah, so they basically are the data centers with for the AI workflows.
Mm.
So, and this goes back to watching that video that I just posted on the YouTube channel. That's the interview from Jensen Huang. Because once you listen to that interview, it will make a lot more sense on why these new data centers like CoreWeave or NBIS or IREN tickers. I'm not into those, but I'm into CoreWeave. But why these data centers have really popped up, which are geared towards your AI related processing, and how CPU processing has completely or slowly diminishing from the company's workflow. So definitely watch that if you are interested in understanding more and not just going with the hype because everybody's piling into it.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of markets, they do kind of get people to kind of follow the hype, don't they? Which is a shame, because
So which
obviously
is
you kind of want to know what you're investing in.
sometimes hype will get you to know the names, but it is important that you understand why
Exactly.
it happen to the upside and not just go with the flow and ask, hey, do I sell the stock at whatever number, right?
Yeah, and look, we're not invincible to that either. I mean, I have traded names in the past, and I've kind of got in on the name before I even know anything about it, and that's just kind of normal. It's natural. You kind of jump in and you think, oh, I'll do the due diligence later. It doesn't matter. Or before you know it, you're down 15, 20%, and you don't understand the stock, so you're in a bit of a pickle, and you end up selling at a loss when it actually comes back up kind of 30, 40% a month later. So it's very emotional journey, of course. But yeah, that's the kind of picks of the week we've got. We've got NVIDIA for me and obviously CoreWeave for Kaye. We're going to jump into the audience requests now. Let me get the charts sorted and ready. Have you got the list ready there, Kaye?
Yeah, I have it. So you start with the GLD, that's the first one. I don't Do you trade gold? I never trade gold actually, but I know that a lot of people like to trade gold.
I don't really know. Sometimes on the futures, if I see like a setup, like a breakout setup, I will trade it because a breakout setup is a breakout setup for me. But um, I don't actively look at it. It's just part of my watch list, if that makes sense. I just kind of skip through it, and if I see it at
Ah,
that time, I'll take it. But
I see, I see. Okay.
I don't really actively look at it. No. Right, let's jump into the charts then. So what is GLD up first? Gold doing quite well. Is this the white one? GLD?
Yeah, yeah, that's the gold. That's a yeah,
Yeah, must
that's
be.
the correct one. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a good example of what I just said there was this breakout we had here, which is basically shot out. Now trading that would be pretty tricky, but that's essentially what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know where I would add here. Maybe I wouldn't just now, just because it's quite extended from the moving averages. There's not a huge amount of volume at this level, so maybe just let it calm down, fill the gap. Although because it's future, they're not futures. There's loads of gaps. Jesus, yeah. I don't know. What would you do at this point? Would you sit on the position
I
if you in it?
if I'm not in the position, I would not add at this, because this is unlike a name that is just going off because of some news event. This is typical gold, right? So I would wait. Um, but if I already have a position and I'm already in a profit, I'm definitely not going to add. I'm probably going to take some profit, not everything, but some profit from the breakout.
Awesome. Okay, what's up next then?
But next is Google.
Google. Are we doing GL or just G?
You can do whatever you like. It's the same price action. I generally buy GOOG because it's cheaper slightly. But the whole point is like, hey, it's a Class A versus Class C share. I mean, it's not going to go out of business, so you're not going to get. If you get goes out of business, you have bigger things to worry about than your little investment.
I was doing some analysis the other day on the live stream, so that's why I've got so many lines on here. I mean, yeah, we dropped down like the market did a bit more aggressively on the Thursday, but we came back up on the Friday, as you can see there. Get rid of that for now. But we filled that gap, and that's what we like to see. I'm sure that's probably what you were about to say.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'll add to my position. I'm already up year to date on this one, close to 70%. So if it falls, I'll probably add that to the gap. I'll add it to my long term position. It might even fall because your 50 SMA is right around at the end, at the edge of the gap, which is 215.93, so 216.36. Yeah, so very very close by. So we may see a support at that level. But if not, then the fair value as of the various DCF average fair value is about 259 for Google. So we are very close to that number as well.
Mm, yeah. I like to look at this gap as well down here, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
At 212, that'd be interesting to see if it comes down there. But that's a good, probably about 15-20% drop from here.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
So yeah, okay, we'll move on from Google then, shall we?
Amazon. And I think this is a very good pick. Um, there's an interesting story while you pull the chart up. So I have been trading Amazon for folks who come here on a regular basis. You know that I trade, I sell options on a lot of these tickers, and I do a wheel strategy. So funny thing, I've been running a wheel strategy on Amazon since July, and the same stock, the same contract, I just keep rolling because gets expired because I'm not able to sell it. I'm trying to sell Amazon at 220. Every time the expiration date comes, the Amazon stock falls below 220, and I end up keeping my stocks. So I have made actually a lot of money on that contract already. I just probably my cost bases have gone down, so definitely has gone down a lot. But all to that to say is that this is a place where again Amazon is coiling at this range. So this is also where I'm also building up my long-term position for Amazon.
Yeah, it's interesting from maybe a shorter term perspective in my end, where it's going to find some footing now.
Well, you have 200
Uh,
SMA coming up at 214.
yeah, so it's 212 on my chart. You're talking about 214, which is just unbelievable, kind of that
Yeah.
area right there. You could also draw another little trend line from the low here, in which case it would have bounced. So of course you do get a bit of a muddle if you start drawing loads of lines on your charts and you start believing um, all of them. But it's there to be seen. Maybe we've had the bounce, or maybe we dropped down a bit further, maybe towards 213. I feel like that's probably going to be a bit more of a solid support because it's a 200 moving average, but there's not much volume there on the right side. It will load in a minute. Maybe it'll bring a bit more.
And then
Yeah,
then
there you
there's
go.
a very small gap between 195 going to 197.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
here, isn't it?
Yeah, if you remove all the lines, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, that's the gap there.
But I'm saying is if it goes there, that's a great place to add a company like Amazon into your portfolio.
Oh yeah, amazingly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you switch to if it was to get back down there, then you have to start switching to the weekly chart and the monthly chart. So that gap would be filled. Still below the 50 moving average on the weekly chart, but you still got all this nice amount of volume here. Let's have a look at the monthly chart. And that's going to be the 20 moving average
Yeah.
for the monthly, which sounds pretty nice. Me and Kaye spoke about Lululemon being at the 200 moving average for the monthly before the stream. So these are the kind of things you have to look out for. If you like these names, you like trading the big names, and you want to kind of add to them in the future, just have a look at the bigger time frames as well as the daily time frames. I know we get stuck on the daily time frame here, but it's just because of the setup and the time we have to go through the charts. But it's always nice to look at the weekly and the monthly.
Yeah.
God, I'm waffling a lot. Should we move on?
Hood. Next is Hood.
Good. This one's been powering higher, isn't it? Oh, look
Yeah,
at that.
exactly. This is another one of your tickers.
There's another one I sold, Kay. Yeah, so keep reminding me, yes.
I mean, you did definitely picked a lot of winners. I'll say this.
Yeah, and I took it. I think it was about from this area because it was the trend line. It was the two moving averages. And I took it up to about here or something due to a trend based Fibonacci that I drew. Little did I know it's going to go up another $40. But that's trading. That's how it works. But nevertheless, if you are holding these shares, and the company's obviously doing wonderful things, they're making great strides within the industry as you would expect, given the popularity of the app, essentially. and the products that they're offering. There's no reason why you just don't hold onto your shares. You could probably take a few profits here and there, but we've beat that drum already on this stream today. Any thoughts on Hood before we move on?
No, Sean, I think the only comment I have is that couple resistance, couple support levels coming up is close to the 20 SMA, which is 115, which kind of like right below it is your the gap that I'll probably would like to catch, because that's where also most of your volume is, right below that. So if it's starting to fill those gaps, that you probably could start a starter position if you're looking for a long-term investing. Um, that's what I'll say on this one. But we do have a comment from Angela, and this is a very good suggestion. If you want to pull that up, yeah, there you go, perfect.
I've already fixed it. I saw it, Angela. Don't worry. Yeah, the reason we moved it from the right to the left, or the reason I moved it from the right to the left, is because sometimes you couldn't see our targets in the top right hand corner, the target prices on the stock picks of the week. But yeah, I see your point. It's probably better on the right than it is on the left, because no one knows what we're actually talking about if they come in to a stock a little bit later. So yeah, thank you for that, Angela. We'll leave it there for now.
Okay, next
What's
up is
next?
Lucid. I have not heard of this name in a long time.
I'm actively trading this.
Okay, so why don't you actually walk us through on this one?
I'm actively down on it as well, because I've kind of held on to my shares for quite a while. But I still like where I only got into it when the partnerships were starting to be made and the money started coming in. I thought, okay, I'll just hold on to. I don't have a huge position, but I'll just hold on to the shares. You know, as you do, you kind of hodl this type of thing, especially when you're not holding too many shares, which is great. But I like the way it's going. It's had a really good positive price action in the last month, essentially, as you can see on the chart here. This is from September to October. Um, and the reason, so annoyingly, I set a buy limit of $14 for more shares, and obviously it bounced at what, look, 15.27. Judging by the chart I've got, that's kind of why I wanted it to come down. But the important thing is it bounced at around that level. Yes, I didn't get my buy order sorted. I didn't get more shares, but that's okay. The theory is still there. The thesis is still playing out, and I still have some shares, of course. I think I've got an average price. I bought it ages ago. I can't remember, but average price about 26, 27, adjusted for the split. So yeah. Anyway, let's go back into kind of where it could be going. What I want to see is the break of 200 moving average and this trend line, and then I think we're off to the races. There's no reason why not. Earnings season's obviously just around the corner. So hopefully we can get some more production and more sales through for Lucid. I'll be the first person to say that I've never been a very big fan of the cars. I've never been a big fan of the company. But if I see an opportunity on a chart, I'm probably going to take it. And this is what I saw. Yes, I was very early and I was probably a little bit wrong, but at the same time, it's moving eventually in the right direction. And this volume here on the right side is the best kind of indicator of that. And it's very much pushing through that. From a chart basis, I know you don't trade this name at all, if ever. On a chart basis, do you see something quite promising here or not so much?
I mean, it's coiling, but I don't know how long it will take to play that the breakout or breakdown here, right? Like for Tesla again. I'll go back to the same example. It took
Hmm.
Tesla almost 4 weeks to play that, so I was wrong 2 times in that 4 weeks.
Okay, I mean, this one's taken about a year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. Good things coming for Lucid potentially, judging by the recent price action. Let's go on to the next one.
NBIS. So this is a very popular retail name, very similar to CoreWeave. They
Oh,
do this.
wow.
Yeah, they do the same stuff as CoreWeave. Um, for some reason, I posted on Twitter a couple days last week. Is that there is some sort of like animosity between the folks that are NBIS fan versus IREN fan versus CRWV fan. I don't know what's the animosity between those three groups, but there is always some sort of animosity. I don't know why. But yeah, so basically all these three companies they do the same thing, AI data center, and it's just basically arguing on the fact that who will win the race. I think the market is huge. So if you see your stock playing, if you got into it like a $5 and then you're at $100, then you've already made it, right?
Definitely, yeah. From a chart perspective, we're not too sure how much advice we can give on this. I mean, there's lots of gaps. So maybe if we get a bit of a sector downturn in the future, I'll be looking at the gaps for sure. But that's, yeah, there's not really much else we can say. We can say that the RSI is still quite elevated, although it is dipping a little bit, but it's still kind of floating around that 70 to 80. And on the weekly as well, you can see the weekly RSI now coming into 80, which is always an interesting sign. I don't normally get any warning for myself until it's about 90, 95. That's when I start thinking, okay, I need to maybe potentially short a few shares.
Mm.
But 80 is still perfectly healthy in my opinion. What are your thoughts on the RSI in general, Kay?
So if I was just brand new and getting into this one, I would aim for the gap fill to sell options here, right? So that way you are protecting yourself 30%. Names like these have very good IV. So I can tell you for a weekly, you will get the IV is almost 75, 76%. So you'll get a very healthy premium. So you should be a option seller at these levels rather than an option buyer. So you get 30% plus you get the premium for selling the option. You'll probably pull your cost basis even lower. That's how I would play this one. I'm not going to buy calls at these levels. And you should buy leap
Okay,
calls when actually you are going down and filling those gap at 30%. That's when you should be buying leap calls.
absolutely. Buy calls on red days essentially.
Exactly.
And that's 40% drop actually to fill that gap. So that's quite a move. And let's see if that does eventually take place. It could also just go to 150, 160. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
Absolutely. Next
Okay.
up is Uber, one of our 2025 picks.
It continues to just do
Power
really well.
I mean, it did its all-time high of 101.99 a couple days ago last week.
It's incredible performance. We had originally a kind of broadening, well, not broadening, a tightening wedge drawn, as you can see on the screen here. This is now the weekly chart drawn from quite a while back. This is back in 2021. And it's looking like it's just breaking out of that to the upside. So, you know, the possibilities are endless for this company right now in terms of the chart anyway. Yeah, uh, it just keeps powering higher. That's all I can really say. The trend is your friend on this one for sure. Where
100%.
you take profits, not sure really. It's hard to say. Is it all-time highs? The kind of level you
Yeah,
said?
it did
Yeah.
all-time high. Like last week it did. It was what 102, 109, 101.99, 102.01, something like that.
So you could have a trend-based Fibonacci drawn around there, perhaps. Obviously, the most deep low back in April. That's quite often where I start my trend-based Fibonacci's. Obviously, to the high that was set, and the previous high, should I say, and obviously the most recent dip as well. And you can see the levels drawn on the screen are kind of mostly being met, especially at the resistance here, 100. And then we look at 104, 108, 114. So there's some lines on the screen there, some levels. What that means, I'm not sure if it's not financial advice, but you can take them if you like for your due diligence. But do draw your own charts, of course. Don't just copy mine.
And just to give you guys a little perspective before we hop to the next sticker, last earnings they brought in 12.65 billion in quarter. Next earnings that's coming up on 10/28, they're expected to bring 13.24 billion.
Oh,
So it's not there's a reason why we were calling to buy Uber since last year. And around this time frame, you can go and check my channel. I've posted multiple videos on that to buy it. This was exactly the reason. So you could have a meme frenzy because of hype on what's going to happen in future. That's also fine. But then you also have companies that actually really are bringing revenue. And the only downside or the bear case for Uber was that once Tesla robotaxi comes into the picture, they're going to eat Uber's lunch. It's not as easy as you think. It's going to take years before that happens. And you don't have to hold that stock. You need to hold it at least 1 year to be a long-term investor and then sell.
yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's going to take a very long time
And if, by the
for
way,
that to take place. Yeah,
there's a big if.
yeah. There you go. It's still an asterisk hanging above that head. Okay. Uber, very very good.
CMG.
performance. Congratulations if you own it. What's next?
Chipotle, CMG.
Right. Wow, this one's not doing so well.
Mhm.
The last earnings report, even though it was green, dropped down
It,
quite a bit actually.
so what happened? Let me give you. So they actually missed on the top line. No, sorry, they didn't miss on the top line. On the EPS, they were in line, but the revenue, it came $53 million less. So they missed the revenue,
Right.
and they have
Is
been
that
missing.
because of competition?
I don't know, but they have been missing the revenue from last 4 quarters. So that's last 1 year they've been missing revenue every single quarter.
Well, that's why we've got the price action on the screen as we see. This is the weekly chart. You can see a massive trend line break to the downside because of that earnings. It's barely hanging on before, as you can kind of see in these kind of section of months we've got there. That's a trend line drawn from early 2022. Where we're going to find some footing, that's why we're here, I guess. So there's a bit of a resistance here.
Hmm.
Let's draw that yellow for now. So it might be seeing a bit of positive price action for that, but I probably wouldn't go on that alone. I'd like to try and find maybe a long-term moving average. So let's go to the monthly chart. Yeah, look, we're breaking down through the 50 moving average. So this is a big stay away stock for me until it gets some sort of support. A bit like Lululemon, we spoke earlier. Having that major support is definitely key, I think, and we're not seeing that. We're seeing it break through all of the major supports. Would you agree there, Kay, or are you seeing
No,
something else?
I agree with you. And then if it breaks down that support level, the volume is going to take you down all the way to the mid 30s.
Yeah, so this sort of level here.
That
Yeah,
level.
that would be a very interesting level, actually. So
Now
maybe 32.
yeah, that is a level where a lot of people will start getting back into CMG. What's going on?
That's if you think the competition is not too strong for it. So there's a reason why they're losing revenue. There's a reason why this particular performance is happening within the company, surely. And that's because they're not getting enough customers. And they're obviously going somewhere else. Is that going to continue? They're going to change their branding. They're going to improve their product. That's yet to be seen. So it's one of those where you don't just trade off the chart. You have to look at the kind of everyday operational and logical side of the company as well. Especially with a company like this, it's very much in people's faces. It's not like a SaaS company. It's not like a tech company. It's not
Yeah,
behind the scenes sort of thing. It's this is a logical company that happens every day.
yeah,
Okay, I think we covered CMG quite well there.
yeah. Next is BA.
Wow, this one. I haven't seen this chart for ages. Oh wow, look at this. A little
So
bit of a breakout.
they had they signed a deal with Palantir.
Okay, right. Always a good sign.
Listen, I really hope some of Palantir's luck rubs on Boeing, because this has been a shitty investment. Sorry for my word, for my language. This has been a shitty investment for me personally since 2019. Like, seriously.
So, I mean, yeah, that's not great. But so 200 is a very interesting point for me. Just because it's the kind of break of trend line. This is a monthly chart, by the way. So this is we're talking big price action here. If we come back down to the 200 level, which is it's a handsome 10% drop, which is very possible for a company like Baring. They're all over the place at the moment. You've got the 50 moving average and the 20 moving average and lots of volume here on the right side. So, and obviously the retest of the trend line. So that would be a really interesting point for me to add for shares for long term, especially if they're partnering with a company like Palantir, who could really sort them out into kind of the back admin side. But yes, I like this. I'm going to write this one down. Whoever brought this one up, I think it was Bernadette McCrae. Hopefully I said that right. Baring, yes, thank you very much for bringing that one up. I need to write that down here.
Yeah. Next up is another Mag 7 Meta.
So this is one I never trade, but
Yeah,
perhaps I should have done.
it's like I'm still sitting on my original investment, and I just leave it as is. I don't invest. I don't buy more, because it's not giving us any chance to buy anything, because it just keeps powering higher and higher.
I mean, you could argue it's trying to do that now. It's trying to give you an option now because you've got a oh my God, retest of this trend line coming back down. Also, a support of this trend line coming up, the 50 moving average, and obviously the support resistance that we've got here, which you could actually bring higher.
Yeah.
So there's lots of confluence at this point, um, for sure. But again, I don't really trade Meta. I don't really know what its typical price action is. I can see it on the screen, of course, but from day to day, I'm not too sure. Um,
And the
but
problem is that I cannot sell options on Meta because it's just such an expensive stock that it's not the premium ROI is not enough
yeah,
putting that much money.
but I like to set up on the chart in terms of confidence. If you want to trade some shares with it, that's not too bad. Obviously, the fees will be quite large. I think overnight fees if you're trading on the kind of leverage. So do be aware of that if you're trading on leverage. But yeah, like you say, the options are probably pretty expensive. Um, okay, but I like the chart. I mean, that's what, 4 points of confidence. Yeah,
Next up is
so
another big one, Palantir.
Palantir. Okay, looks like I've done some sort of research. This is obviously one that we've had a few weeks ago, and it's kind of subsequently done exactly what I drew. Did I take the trade? No, I did not take the trade, but that's quite typical for me. It's kind of hovered around the 50 moving average here. As you can see, obviously we've had this conversation before in the past, which is why the lines were there, and it's kind of moved up nicely. What it has done though is used that as a bit of resistance, a previous trend line as resistance. That's quite common. Um, the key now would be to get through that for sure. So if you draw another line across the peaks here, to get
Mm,
through this and with volume to make another move towards that $200, which I'm sure lots of investors and traders are looking for. But yeah, lots of support underneath it, lots of backing, of course. Earnings season around the corner, so they might smash it again.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Panther? You still in it? Because you were
No,
in it for a while,
I, I
weren't you?
I exited my position at 500% gains.
That's not bad, is it? Not bad at all.
And listen, I don't regret it. It can go higher. I don't care. I made my profit. And guess what? I have diverted those funds into other place where I think there's a upside potential much higher because see, when you have already 500, I can go maybe I don't know what percentage. Um, but it's getting to a point with Palantir that you cannot have such a high valuation of the company which brings in I don't know what $1 billion, $2 billion. Let me see how much it brings. At some point the valuation is going to catch up to this company. It's $1 billion a revenue they're bringing in, and they are $421 billion market cap. So there is only so much you can pull. Forget about P ratio, but just from a perspective of if you were not those early investors in the sevens and tens and 20s and 30, even 50, 60, 70s, if you're getting in now, your risk to reward
Yeah, not good.
is not there.
Well, it's not as good as it would have been.
Exactly. Hey, next
Yeah,
up.
I mean, this is one of those stocks that I lost out on as well. So if you're looking at this thinking, oh, I wish I bought Palantir at 20, then don't worry, there's more of us. What's next?
Tesla.
Tesla, here we go. I mean, what a move it's made. We spoke about it for actually months, didn't we? Really, this whole kind of we had different lines on our charts, but they both kind of told a similar story, which is kind of it was going to break out at some point, potentially to the upside or downside. In the end, it went to the upside, and we could see the breakout and the retest of this sort of area, and it just flew after that. And it looks like it's just going to continue powering higher. I'm looking personally for obviously recent highs of 483. Is that all-time high, Kay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at kind of all-time high around 484-ish. Um, if we can get above 500, which is very, very possible for a company like Tesla, and when a stock goes, it goes. We've seen it in the past. You can see it on the chart alone here. So there's definitely pedigree in for that in the past. What I would say is maybe we have a little bit more kind of flattish price action. Maybe we come back down to 420 and retest that kind of typical Elon Musk number. And by the time that happens, the 20 moving average will be there as well. So that'd be nice to have a bit of support. And it's a kind of natural calm down rather than just go straight up for 3 months. Obviously, Tesla investors will want that and be very happy with that, but it's not always how it works. What are your thoughts on Tesla in the chart and kind of the company overall? Because we've got some key events, I imagine, coming up.
Yeah, I think the key events is again looking at the earnings report. which is expected to actually do better because the EV credits are expiring by end of September, so in a couple of days. So the likelihood of Tesla probably selling more cars, or at least binding contracts, would be much higher than the previous earnings. So that is going to be something that a lot of analysts will look into, and it's expected that they will have higher. Now, on the flip side, it'll be surprising if they actually do not have it. That will actually pull the stock down. Otherwise, if that's the case, then it's going to be in the realm of that. It's expected that it'll do better. I think the next piece that they want to know is the robotaxi expansion, because we haven't really heard much on robotaxi. All the fanfare, and Elon isn't much talking about it. He's not posting stuff on his Twitter, unless I'm mistaken, right? But there's a lot of Optimus stuff going on his Twitter. So he's pushing more Optimus narrative as
Mm.
opposed to robotaxi. Um, Optimus is not bringing any revenue yet. When it will start bringing any revenue, um, I guess then that we will need to know, because that will have to be part of the valuation of the company, which again, it's not a car company. We have heard that narrative from Tesla fanboys. But end of the day, you're still selling cars, and if you're not selling cars, you're selling robotaxi. So you need to show something, right? Either you sell more cars or you expand in more markets as robotaxi. Now, I'm a very happy camper here. My trades have played out, so I'm not complaining. But these are relevant questions you should be asking as an investor.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what they say on the earnings call, because they're normally quite early within the earnings season as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they
So
are maybe first week or the second week, right after the
yeah,
banks.
exactly right. So definitely one to look out for sure. Right, let's move on then. But how
ABG,
many have we got left? Was it
we
four?
have four left: ABGO, Oracle, CRDO, and CLS.
Okay, we'll do those four and we'll call it there, because we're kind of coming up to the hour mark now. And I'm getting hungry. So AVGO next, is that right?
Yes, that was a nice,
Okay.
yeah,
We've,
nice.
we yeah, we've done some drawings here before. I do love it when I come back to a chart and I've just drawn some
And
lines
you
or some
regret you didn't want
squiggles.
to take the trade, and I feel like your thesis plays out so beautifully, and that's
Yeah,
what is documented. You're not lying.
I know. And the worst part of that is I don't take the trades.
That's the worst part. Yes.
But that's because I have a job and I don't always actually out the charts. And would I actually take all the trades? Who knows? It's a whole different ballgame, Kay. But it's nice to know that I've been fairly right. This is
Yeah.
obviously not quite as perfect. Obviously, we did have a move up. I would have liked to have to come down and retest it almost straight away just to get that confirmation of a bounce. But it looks like it's just kind of taking its time. Maybe we do eventually come back down to three, let's say 320, where the 50 moving average will kind of come in nicely there, and that would be a really nice time to get in my opinion, because they're the talk of the town, aren't they? When you're the talk of the town, that's a good thing. So let's draw that out hypothetically. What am I doing? Brush. So yeah, again, come back down to here, 50 moving average, and then push up higher towards that all-time highs around 370. That's not a move to grumble at either. That's a good percentage from there to there. That's 16% for a large stock like this. That's a good move, because you
Yeah.
can easily play this on leverage, because it's not going to be too dramatic in the way it moves potentially. In my opinion, of course, everyone's different. But
Yeah.
do you like AVGO? Are you in AVGO?
I have traded AVGO many times.
Mm,
It like I switch between AVGO and Qualcomm often during earning season trades. So this is more of my earning season trades rather than long term, because I don't want to expose myself to chips throughout my portfolio, because I'm very heavy Nvidia, and then I have a decent amount of AMD which I'm slowly scaling out of. So AVGO, Qualcomm are more like earnings trade that I play. So I'm still in my Qualcomm's earning trade from the previous earning, which played out by the way, but because I had such a long time I sold options on, it expires in December. So I'm already up like 70% on that. So I want to get to 95% before I close that trade out. So that will still take about a month and a half to play out.
awesome. I like it when we're making money. Good times.
Yeah,
Okay. Another scenario before we move on actually is it could just break this trend line straight to upside. So we could actually not get that gap fill completely. Well, actually, gap fill's down here, but the previous bounce of the resistance. So there's lots of avenues for this to go up, but it does look like it might just be taking a bit of time out to move up after that. Is it Oracle next?
Oracle is next, another big name on the data center side.
I'll let you talk to this one. This is your kind of bag.
Well, I think all these stocks which had this breakout, um, the issue that you are going to run into is, do you take a trade now or do you wait for the gap fill to happen? So in my case, if you have been sitting on the sideline, I would rather wait for the price to at least come down, gets a bounce at 20 SMA, which is right around the 278. And if it can sustain it, then maybe you get into it. If not, then the next will be the 50 SMA at 258, which is right smack in the middle of the gap. So those are the two test areas before you actually initiate any position. You need to make sure that the bounce is, it's not a fake bounce. You know. So I would wait and watch. I wouldn't jump in at these levels. I would want to make sure, because there is really no volume, man. If you if that breaks down, you're coming down to the 238, 239 area, because that's where the volume starts to coil.
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at this stock at all until 258, just because, like you said, there's no volume, of course, because
Yeah,
there's never been any price action there. So it should slip straight through that like butter. You've
yeah.
also got the MACD curling over negatively and it's actually crossing, which means more negative price action potentially coming. The RSI is looking pretty good around 50. That's pretty nice to see. But yeah, I would expect it to kind of slip straight down to but at the very least 260, which is obviously here with the line. Move it up slightly for that. But yeah, I really like that actually for 260. To be honest, it's appealing for sure.
The other way you can play this is, if it starts breaking down, that's when you can leverage yourself or position yourself for a leap call. Because then what you'll do is you can probably get into those 70, 60, 70, 80 deltas at a much cheaper price, which is going to start eroding the premium at that level during the free fall. So write it down somewhere, so you can keep reminding yourself whenever you have those big pullbacks and you like the name and you want to trade, or this is more of a swing trade with a leap call, buy it at those levels.
Exactly, but they'd be a bit expensive though, wouldn't they? As well.
If it's on those red days, pullback days, it will be actually cheaper, because you will definitely be getting discounts. Because right now, if you
Right.
buy it, you'll be paying a lot more.
So, for example, just hypothetically, if tomorrow we get that kind of 8-9% drop to 260, that
Correct.
would almost be a perfect
It-
on
exactly.
paper, it would be a perfect time to add or
So let me give you
start
an
a position.
example. So Oracle, if I look at the options chain right now, a 285 call was down 49% from the price. So you would have paid almost $1,200 for it. Now you're only paying 640 for the next week expiration. I'm just giving an example. So the weekly eroded 50%. Now if you look at the leap call, let's go January. The leap call eroded by 7-8%.
Mm.
If you buy at the money 280 call, leap call for 15th January 2027, which is 65 delta, 64 delta or so, it eroded 7%. So of course, because you have a time, right? The extrinsic value is the time that's in there. But 7%, 10%, 15% discount on those leap calls is worth hundreds of dollars that you would have put more into, because the more money you put in, your strike price keeps going up.
There we go. Right, let's move on to the last two charts of the day. Then, what have we got to finish off with?
CRDO and CLS. So CRDO, I don't know if you know, it's in semiconductor space. They provide high speed connectivity solutions and optical and electrical Ethernet. By the way, funny you talk about Ethernet. I'll go back to the same video that I talked about Jensen Huang. So Jensen, I did not know that NVIDIA also sells a lot of Ethernet, and they are the fastest growing Ethernet business right now in the world. That's what Jensen Huang said on that video. I did not know that.
What Credo?
So Credo is an they supply all this stuff, but I'm saying Nvidia has a Ethernet business as well, which I did not know.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So
I'm looking at this, and I'm kind of liking. Well, not loving the chart, but I'm liking it to a certain extent. We do have a gap fill here.
Mhm.
Um, Let me draw that on the chart as I normally do. There we go. Um, we've got an interesting point of 132, which is the bottom of this trend line, which is actually more of a channel, and the 50 moving average are kind of coming in there as well. But if you double tap, and you can see RSI has handsomely come back down to the kind of 50 level. And by the time it potentially gets down to that kind of 125, 130 level, and the MACD will be kind of down level and potentially turning up for more upside. But I feel like there's better opportunities in the market. But that's what I'd be looking for if I was looking for this. And that's obviously the feedback I'm going to give to, I think it was, we've got True North Sun. So, yeah, hopefully that helps you. Let's move on to your next stock, True North Sun, which is CLS. It just reminds me of Timber, CLS Timber.
CLS.
Celestica, what does this do? We've actually looked at this before, judging
Yeah,
by the.
it provides supply chain solutions. It operates through two segments: advanced technology solution and connectivity and cloud solutions. So electronic manufacturing services.
Funny enough, we've kind of drawn the kind of story of this stream. Actually, we've drawn the level to come back down to, and then move higher. It looks like it's kind of done exactly that here about 2 days ago. Obviously, it took a little bit longer to do it, but that's kind of the general thesis of my trading. So you come back down to the trend line and make a move higher. It's actually really nice to come back above the 20 moving average. And obviously the volume here, if we can get a push out of that above 250 this week, then I see more upside. Simple as that. The trend is your friend for stocks like these, and there's no reason why it can't just power higher. Are you in agreement with that, Kay, or you see something different?
No, I agree with you on that. I totally agree with that statement.
Because Angela is, really nice for bringing up the comment earlier. We're going to have a look at Reddit quickly before we finish off the stream.
And then for the
We've
for
got
NUMF, Google we already covered, QQQ we already covered, and for Ryan Core we already covered. So if you go back to the stream, you'll be able to see all those tickers.
Yeah. So QQQ was obviously in the first probably 10 minutes or so. CRWV Kaye covered that extensively because that's his pick of the week. So that'll be about 10, 15 minutes into the stream. And then Google was one of the stock requests. So you're probably looking at about half an hour,
Yeah,
35 minutes into the stream. Just so if you do go back onto the YouTube channel, which you're both on, because I can see you're both on the YouTube channel there. Yeah, just rewind back to those times I just mentioned. Reddit quickly before we leave. So yeah, I mean Reddit's continuing to power higher. We've got previous highs set around here of 227. We've come back down and kind of retested that area, and we've come back down and retested it again. So good strength to be had here for Reddit. I like it. I don't like the actual app or website, company, whatever, because I can't use it. I'm not too sure how you do forums and things like that. It's just not for me. I've tried it three separate occasions now. It's just not for me. The platform is not for me. But I respect that people love it, and I respect that people use it. Do you use Reddit?
very sparingly. Ultimately, I just stick with Twitter. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you only really need one these days, don't you? But you can see a really nice kind of cup and handle, almost a bit skewed, but yeah, cup and handle. All the time, it's making these kind of supports and bounces and higher lows. Sorry, the trend is your friend. We said it a few times. Anything to add?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
Okay, Dave, we'll go into the closing part of the stream. Unfortunately, $ dots. We can't do snap and pass because we come to the end of the stream. We've got stuff to do, move on for the day. But make sure you come back next week at 1 p.m. Eastern time on obviously the YouTube channel and obviously on Wolf's channel, which again we do appreciate the massive support from the Wolf Financial and the Wolf team. Basically, it's a massive network, of course. I'm waffling so much now. I've had 2 weeks off, and I'm just kind of talking to fill the void. Okay, finish the stream for us. Go on.
Okay. So thank you everybody for joining. This was again fun. We got a lot of tickers, some very familiar names, some new names as well. Uh, watch for next week. We will be looking at a lot of job numbers, so you may see some volatility happening as well. And then, basically, in a couple of weeks, we'll be back into the third quarter earnings, and I think that's the best part about these trading weeks, because we love the volatility, especially during the earnings season. So be safe, enjoy, and we will see you next week.
Yep. Take care, everyone. Trade safe and have a great week.